All right, welcome. Hopefully this is working. If it's not, let me know. Welcome to predictableshow.com. We've got a great show for you tonight, live streaming the election results. Let me know if you can hear me. Because that's usually the problem that comes up. Nobody can hear me. But if you can hear me, and I didn't screw this up, welcome to it. We've got live streaming of the results tonight. Going to be a lot of fun. And thank you so much for joining us. Frankly, it's good to see you. I just came down from New York City. I was in New York for Greg Gutfeld. Hopefully you got to watch last night. It was a lot of fun. Great team there, and really enjoyed hanging out with them in New York. Got on a plane this morning, got home like an hour ago, set all this stuff up, and we're ready to go for live streaming as results come out in South Carolina. And we will attempt to kind of give you a picture as to what all this looks like and look for trading opportunities. So, going into this, if you haven't been, watching every single show, because that's not easy to do, we sold our position on Lindsey Graham's sister for Darlene Graham, Nordone, for a nice profit, and decided to stay out of the main race here. I am looking at some margin market stuff, and I'm going to watch these votes as they come in and see what we have, frankly, because we want to hopefully take some advantage of this as the votes come out. No vote is out quite yet. We're just kind of getting started. They just closed. What we should see is a batch of early vote come out first. And the vote comes out relatively quickly in South Carolina. We should it shouldn't be like a super long night unless it's very, very close. So when it comes to prediction markets, I happen to have some positions on it not being exactly close. I've got some positions on it not falling between 0 and 3% for both people. It's a really narrow margin. You're looking at it's got to be, within 3 points either way. So you're talking 51.5 to 48.5. It's got to be closer than that for me to lose either of those positions. The good thing is, if I do lose those positions, the other one will pay for a little bit of those losses. But again, not huge positions here. I'm just kind of playing on the margins. The other one, I have a couple of marker positions on blowout scenarios, kind of for both people, because I really don't know. The biggest blowout, this is an interesting part of this particular market, the way it's set out. Let me get you vote percent here. Remember, this is a 2-person race, and that does make a difference. You don't have the third candidates taking off 3, 4, 5% here and there. You just have the two biggest candidates going kind of, going. There's a vote goes to one person, it goes away from the other one, right? So those margins can get big quickly. So I have basically the longest shots on the board at 1 and 2 cents as to whether one of these candidates is going to get over 60%. Feels possible, doesn't it? It feels possible, right? I mean, I don't know. My guess is it doesn't happen, but it's only a few bucks. And honestly, they're super long shots, legitimately 1 or 2% type positions, just in case we get a kind of a surprise blowout from one of these two. Do expect it to be pretty close. But as I said, 0 to 3 points is really, really hard. It's just hard to keep in that. I mean, we've only seen a few races stick around that. The Francesca Hong was one of them, but not too many others. So we've got that coming up tonight. We also have the Oklahoma situation going on right now as well. That is the big one we're kind of following most closely, is Drummond versus Mazie. I do have a position on Mazie. I have been kind of slowly trickling it out during the day. It was a large position. I don't know if it's still large. It might be down to medium by now. I've been just kind of like trickling out, just trickling. That's all we're doing. We're just trickling out a few shares here and there, mainly because I'm up about 40-something% on that position already, and I don't want to lose it. I don't have a great feeling for either of these races. I think Mazie is going to win. I don't feel massively passionate about it, which is why I'm kind of selling. And then on the other hand, there is that scenario where you do see, maybe something unexpected. And So I'm going to kind of just watch this as it comes out, take some profits on these positions that are up, and then watch it as the vote comes out. Let's see. Do we have the question? I guess I would ask is, do we have any actual vote yet? Let's see. In South Carolina. Now, by the way, I should mention too, and I have not spent any time on this. If you have, I would love to see your comments in the chat. The Georgia House 13 race looks like Marcy Scott is at 63%, Everton Blair at 37%. About 8% of the vote is in. I have not followed that race really at all, to be honest with you. So that's where that's going right now. One of the things I like about the 0 to 3 thing is like everyone, when they see a close race, everyone thinks it's going to be really, really close. And usually they get overly optimistic on that. Now, this one very well might end up in that race. I haven't risked a lot here, but just kind of playing around in the margins. You know, this is not going to be a massive night, I don't think, for me. So, but I'm going to watch it anyway and see if one of those possibilities pops up. This has happened 3 or 4 times this election cycle where I've entered a race with no position or almost no position. And like we've been able to find some opportunities as the vote comes out, watching it closely, seeing where it goes. Now, the way I'm looking at this today, and we do have a few votes, it looks like, yes, a couple hundred votes with Darlene Graham a big lead in Chesterfield County is the first one we have. Let's see, can I see if I can bring this? I don't know if I can bring this one up for you. This will be fun to see because you can kind of see the map as we go here. Let me show you the market here while we're here. Oh gosh, don't do that. I almost closed out the window for the actual live stream. All right, that's not good. I shouldn't do that. Okay, here we go. Let's, what an adventure every single time. Okay, here we go. This is the market we've got right now. This is South Carolina. And as you can see, Darlene Graham is off to this big, now this is a big jump for Darlene Graham, and we have no sense of the vote yet. Darlene Graham, 67% in Georgetown. That's a good result for her. That's a good result for her. I had a few of these marked down if she's winning relatively strongly. Georgetown was one of them. County, if she's, you know, looking potentially blowout territory, that could be good. This could be good for my positions here. Let's see where we are in these. Really, we don't have enough information yet, but that's a really good first result. So that's the first thing to call into my to your mind here. Let me, can I bring this one in? I don't know how. Let me attempt it. All right, trying this on the fly, boys and girls. Always interesting. So let's see if that works. Okay, so let's see if this loads here. Yeah, here we go. There's that's Decision Desk's little map situation. They do a good job with this, and you see this is where we are right now. Graham Nordone with a nice, pretty hefty lead here on. Where's this? I'm gonna move this over here. Can I find this other? I can move this down here. Sorry, I'm sliding windows around as we go. Okay, so you can kind of see here. This Georgetown County was one that if, you know, she was getting in the area of 2/3 of the vote, this looked like a pretty good win. Not necessarily a blowout win, but a good win for Graham. Now, that is 24% of the vote in. That's the early vote. I wouldn't go crazy about that, but you'll see that's kind of where we are. Horry's another county, and where's the other one here? I can never remember where they are. Yeah, well, in this general vicinity. There's another one I had over here somewhere. And then also, let's see, it was Lexington. I saw Lexington. Oh, here's a vote. Oh, more vote. Anderson County. This is expected up here in this area. We should see Norman winning this. 55-44 isn't a wonderful result for Norman. I'd say that's a bit under what I would hope for if I were a Norman guy. Interesting. Okay. We're gonna keep watching this as we go. Let me go back to the actual markets. You can see the markets moving around pretty wildly here, and this is why that first county coming out in a big way for Graham, and now she's up to 85%. You know, the question here really, Question here really was whether you'd have a situation that you'd have a world where you know where's that? Hold on one second. Sorry. The question was really whether you'd have a world in which Graham would overperform in a big way in some of these counties. And it does feel like the markets believe that. I think it's an overreaction still. We're still in overreaction territory, as you might expect. That's what we do here. It's like the first week of the NFL season. But we're watching these counties very closely as they pop it out. You look at, this is all over the board right now. Graham at 78%, 23% for Norman, now 78-16. I mean, it's just kind of got all over the board. One of the things that we see in these markets as they fly out like this is the markets, people like act like this is a bad thing for prediction markets. When they see new information, it jumps around a little bit. It does the thing where like, if you have a piece of metal on one side and it's in the holder and then you kind of flick it like that and it goes, you know what I mean? Because the other side's open. That is kind of what happens when it comes to prediction markets. They react a little bit too much and then they kind of get set. And when you look at where they are, that doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to hit everything immediately. Okay, we got another market here. Orangeburg is out. That's got 72%. Darlington is one of the ones I think I was looking at. Yeah, here we go. Graham again above the benchmarks I have set for 67.32. She is there. This looks early to be a relatively good day for Graham, and that is why she's up to 80% right now. Watching this as closely as I can. It goes boing, Ethan, if you're asking. And just Norman stock for a single vote now. Weird Norman spike back in a smaller Norman position, even smaller odds. Okay, C Money's improving his position. Good for that. Scalpers reacting to emotion. It's true. Now we're getting lots of vote. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this vote with you here. Whew. Okay, Cherokee. Let's see. I need to find this. So here, let me bring this back in. Bring the map back in here for you as we are looking. Let's see. Can I do that? Yeah, I think so. All right. Let's see. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so you're starting to see the map fill in a little bit now. And you see here we've got Charleston County down here. Graham with a big lead, 59-40. You've got, and you can see actually down here, Decision Desk has a prediction market. I think this is Polymarket. Their data comes from Polymarket. Yeah, and they have Polymarket and Kalshi, it looks like, over here. So you can kind of see it fall around as we go. You see Chesterfield, just 19% of the vote. So Darlington's won, 67% above, Graham's above the markers I have for her there. Georgetown is above the markers I have for her there. Where else do we have? Orangeburg, some there. This whole area up here is going to be Norman area. This is going to fill in nice and yellow, I would assume. If it doesn't fill in nice and yellow, he's in real trouble. These margins are not huge up here, though. It's early vote mostly, so it might be part of the reason for that. But I would expect bigger margins up here for Norman. He should be winning these in a bigger way. Let's see, what else? Chesterfield, not really small one. Dillon, pretty small. Darlington, we talked about. Okay, I think they've covered all of them here. So let me go back to the actual market. This is what the market looks like right now. You see it at about 83% Graham and Norman at 16%. I want to see if I can give you to the other margin market here. I'm going to bring you over to vote percent here. And this is what I was talking about when I was talking about playing these long shots. So right now, and I did not ladder into this because I didn't put that much money into it. But right now you see this position down here of at least 62% for Darlene Graham is all the way up to 8%. And you see there's not a lot there. Let's see if we could trade yes. Let's see what that looks like. Yes. Yeah, there's really someone, if I had laddered there, I could have sold a bunch, but there's not enough there's not a ton of momentum here. I mean, it's just one trade at 8%. But you can see here, there's not a lot of people willing to go over 1. There's a gap here between 1 and 5 cents. This is the order book, by the way. If you don't know, if you've never done one of these things before, nothing wrong with that. But this is the best way to trade if you kind of because you can see where the shares are. Like right now, if I were to buy, if I were to put $50 in, this thing would jump to 60 because there's just not a lot of volume in here. There's not a lot of available. And that's why I didn't go big in this market. Normally I would try to get a decent amount of shares at 1 cent if I was going to try this strategy. There just wasn't a lot there in this particular market. So I went small potatoes on it. Okay. Is this driving me crazy with me moving this mouse around too much? I don't know if it might drive me crazy. Let's see. Ralph Norman over here. Same situation. You see here, will he get 38%? Is that 95%? Will he get up to 62? No, everyone's abandoned these positions now. You can see this is moving toward Graham. Doesn't mean she's going to win, but that is where we are. Okay. Let's see. Let me look over. I'm going to look over at my fabulous map once again. Some more vote is popping in. See if I can bring this over for you. And we can all play along, boys and girls. All right, here we go. Again, you're seeing more yellow up here. What we would expect. These margins are not, this in York County is pretty big, 30-point margin, but that's what we would expect up here in these particular counties. What's going on over here. McCormick is in, Graham 61. That's a good result there. Orangeburg, we've talked about all these already. So nothing massively new. Yeah, that's where we are. Okay. All right. I will go back and give you these markets again. This is the winner, and we do see a nice big lead for 80. I would like to see 1 or 2 more counties come in above where I think Graham needs to be. And if so, I may wind up trying to get back into this Graham market, which as of right now is at 88. Will Norman pop here? It's interesting. He might. I'm seeing another county that's coming into the yellow, Greenwood. There's just a few counties I would like to hear from. Before I started getting more confident. And again, I play these things when I don't have a great vibe on them. I'm going to play them slow. When I'm watching the vote come in and trying to find, diamonds in the rough like this, I am going to. See, I don't like the looks of this map for Norman early. It's early. I don't like the looks of the map. It's very, 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 very early. But I'm not excited about that. If I'm Norman, the map looks, I would argue, worse than it should for him to make a run at this right now. It's early. There's only 7% of the vote in, but when you look at this and you see counties in this area where you would expect good results for Norman, and Graham is at 60% in one of these counties. It's not great news. Margin markets. So right now I'm looking at the margins as we speak. Nothing. I haven't really changed much in my positions so far. I think the only thing that I'm really tossing out the window is a Norman blowout. There's not a lot of margin there, but you can see the Norman stuff, like 9 to 12 point victory, is already out the window. There's nothing. You can buy yes on Norman 9 to 12% at any price, basically. Only 99 cents, or only you can only buy at 99 cents from Ralph Norman's 6 to 9. So the markets are telling you he's in real trouble, and really his only chance is a squeaker. Now, I do have a no position on him winning a squeaker. I think these results are good enough for Graham to be pretty confident that she's above some of the benchmarks. That's what I try to do. It's really hard to watch every county. It's, now I'm sure AI can do it. I'm sure there's some ways to do that. And, we're developing some tools on that front. We've got people looking at this. He's, it's pretty good, basically. So I think like watching that and seeing it all kind of come out in real time. Sorry, I'm doing too many things at once, but as it kind of comes out in real time, you can kind of see these things and play with them as they go. But looking at those positions, trying to win, before you jump, but when you're not paying attention to every single county, it's really hard. That's why what I do is I'll try to take like 6 counties and give myself a real hard look at what the expectation is for those counties. I'm saying 6 because that's what I have in this one. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 3. But the counties that I have kind of marked off, Horry, Georgetown, Darlington, Aiken, Lexington, Richland, those counties coming out. Okay, now we got some results here. Lexington is up to 12% now. Graham, I would say right at her, for the first 12%, looking good there. Not great, like doesn't look like blowout territory to me for her, but I would say it looks pretty good for her to actually win the race. Let's see. But you get through 5 or 6 and you kind of say, okay, if she gets over 5, 50, 60% here, then I'm feeling really confident for her. And that's, that's a good way to approach these things, because then you're not sitting here like trying to monitor 50 counties at the same time. Okay. Let's see. All right. This Georgia race, getting notes that it's a pretty crazy up and down switching sides here. Georgia 13, which is Everton Blair Jr. versus Marcy Scott. Anyone have a position in that race? I would be curious to hear what you say or what you see. Just in case you happen to be riding that roller coaster over there. Those races are fun. Sometimes you find those in the smaller races, especially when one guy is expected or one lady is expected to win, and all of a sudden everything starts breaking down for that person. You see panic. You see panic in their eyes. All right, I'm looking at trying to get a little sense of these markets. The margin markets right now. Let's see if we can bring those up for you guys on the stream here. Gonna go Garland Graham up to 91% now. Let me see if there's more that came out. Sumter, Orangeburg. I mean, she's hit. I'd love to see. There's 2 right here. I just want to see. I want to see a little bit. I would love to see a little bit of Aiken and a little bit more than just this first batch. This first batch is likely early vote, and sometimes the early vote and the later vote, they're just going to disagree with each other slightly. And so the margins that Graham is clearing these benchmarks by are not enough to make me say, okay, I'm pretty confident. I've got 2 counties here I've got nothing from, which is Richland and Aiken, and I would love to see a little bit more, but I might just miss out on all this profit. If you want to jump in there, not crazy to take a pro Graham position here. Okay, yeah. All right, let me see. Let me bring up the markets again here for you and bring you through the margin situation. So just looking, you can kind of glance on these markets. What do they think they're going to get Ralph Norman? They think he's going to be probably in the 40s, mid 40s, maybe 46, 47. It's right in the close range still is where they think it's going to be, but don't think he has any chance of basically clearing 50. I mean, not much. You see here, 12% chance of getting to 50. So again, that's basically what you see from the overall race as well, right? That's, no surprise there. People would arbitrage that out if it was not true. You see a big jump. I'm seeing a big jump here in the actual margin. Let me bring you over to that margin of victory bracketed. I like the open-ended margin of victories better. That's just me. Okay, so here we are. 91, that's the regular race. Let me get you over to margin of victory bracket. There we go. Okay, more markets. Here we are. So 0 to 3, Darling Graham's down to 9%. So the markets are expecting her to win in this range between 3 and 9 points. That's what the markets believe is going to happen right now. And really everything else is dried up. Norman, a very small victory, is down to 6% chance of happening. I'm in a good position on my margin market positions earlier. The long shot stuff I don't think is going to come through at this point, but I'm looking at my screen and my ROI is pretty nice here for today on these markets. Graham 0 to 3. Let's see. We got any more data in here? Still nothing from a lot of these that I want to see. Origin to Arlington. Let's see. First down. Like Hori, it's still only 17%. I just want to get these numbers into like the 30s. Anyway, so that's where we are in the margin markets right now. Here we go. You see Darling Graham in the blowout territory, really just not really seeing anything in there. Like no one even believes Graham. They believe this is going to be, I mean, every single thing that has action on it is basically a Darling Graham win between 0 and 15 points. And then on the other side, Norman, between 0 and 6. That's kind of it. So again, my positions here are I'm no on this one, which is still at 17%. So I've made money on that so far, not a ton, but I bought the exact same contract for Norman to win right here, and that one is down to 7. So that's where most of my profit's coming from so far. I've got a couple fringe positions, in these bigger, crazy markets, which I don't think are going to happen, frankly. That doesn't seem like that's the way this race is going to play out. Let me give you the overalls, by the way. I haven't really talked about the overalls so far. Right now, we have Darlene Graham, 56%, Ralph Norman, 43%. One of the things again, like people are trying to feel this stuff out. They're trying to just sort this stuff out as we go. The fact that they see 10% of the vote is in, it's 56-43. That's the reason why the margin markets are, they think it's going to be in this area. Seems to be, well, I guess what was it? Did I say 56-43? That's interesting. Let me see. I'm going to go back and just look at how much, when we look at remaining vote, where do we see it? There's big stuff. A lot of Greenville vote is still out there, and that's going to be pretty heavy Norman. So you do expect him to close the gap a little bit there. Though it does, this map just looks really darn good for her right now. I like the map for her. That's what I would say. The question is, do we get in on any of these margin, like long shot margin plays? Darling Graham, 12 to 15%. My guess is that's not going to happen, but the current percentages are, and she's up by 13. I hate yeses. I hate yeses in these types of markets. So this is what they call a margin bracketed. Sorry, I'm about to sneeze. A bracketed margin. If you would ever get close to sneezing, if you rub your eyes like this, it goes away. So anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, margin markets. See, this is why I don't like these things, because you're really just trying to I only like no's in these markets. It's not that I don't like playing these markets. I just only like no positions in these markets. It's great to just kind of be able to build up your no position over a long period of time, right? Like you take a no here, you take it like 3 to 6%, 6 to 9%. It can only land in one of these two. So you have real opportunities here if you have a feeling. And if you don't think it's going to be this high, you can go in at no right now at 90. It's 98. You can start picking off the no's as they go. Now, if I wasn't trying to stream and trade at the same time, I'd probably have more positions, honestly, in this as you go, because you can kind of start just taking these off and taking a few percentage points off the outlier type of arrangements. You can kind of say, okay, well, it's not going to be, I mean, take everything above 18. It's not going to be an 18-point margin. You kind of just chipping those out, chipping those out, chipping those out. And that's, you can build up, if you get a no for 3% in one, you get a no for 7% in another, you get a no for 11% in another, you're at 21% covered. And if you can build that number up above 100, you basically are going to lock in a profit in most cases. Okay, let's see where these markets are right now. Graham, let's see the margins. Do I have them? Where's the margin market? I wish I had the graphs on here. I'm in like the sub market on that. Let me pull this down, and I will come back to it here in a second when I have it all arranged properly. All right. Yeah, you can hide. You can go away. Okay. These markets, South Carolina margin. Let's see if I can bring this up with the graph. Yeah, you can kind of see. I'll bring this back on for you. Okay, you can see in this market up here now at the top is Graham at 3 to 6% at 20 or 42% chance that it lands between 3 and 6%, 29% between 6 and 9. The market thinks it's going there. The reason the market thinks it's going there, see if I can bring you over to the map, and I'll show you kind of why the market thinks it's going that direction. Again, this is DDHQ. Okay, so you see here what's out there. We still have a couple counties that I have benchmarked, and I still haven't seen any data for, which is Aiken and Richland. The other ones I've kind of been looking at is this one, which is a 67%. I was looking for over 60 in most of these. Georgetown, 67%. Horry, 73%, well over the benchmarks that we had. Darlington or Lexington, 61, which is only slightly over that. Where was Darlington the other one I had listed? No. Yeah, Darlington was one of them. Where is Darlington? I forgot. Now I've forgotten where Darlington is. All you people in South Carolina, like, idiot, you just keep going right past it. Where did I see it? I know I saw it here somewhere. Now I just can't find it. Georgetown, Horry, there it is. Darlington, 67%. So she's hit her benchmark or exceeded her benchmark in every single one of the counties that I'm looking for. That is a good result. If you have a Graham position, you're happy about that. It is, you look at these and you say she's doing very well. The reason why the markets think that this is going to narrow is because over here we have a remaining. And if you look at the remaining, this kind of gives you an idea where the vote is. Obviously, a lot of vote here in Horry County, where this is the Myrtle Beach area. This was an interesting area because this was an area where what's his face Fry did well. Right, Fry. I'm losing these guys' names at this point. The big thing though is you get these two big circles up here, Greenville and Spartanburg County. These two that you see how they're gray, that means there's no vote. And when there's no vote in a situation like this, these are going to be very yellow. Is expected to be yellow. You see Norman by 14, Norman by 14, Norman by 35, Norman by 10, Norman by 14, Norman by 10. All these are these surrounding areas here are going to give you a good perspective of what vote remains. And these two will fill in yellow like that, which will make Norman make a run at this, and he'll start coming back at some point. Now, there are a lot of, you expect like this Columbia area, Richland will probably be a pretty strong Graham County. I would expect it to be in the 62% range. Aiken, we finally got some, and let's see what that Aiken looks like. Aiken, again, 61%. So she's clearing once again that barrier of what she needs to clear in Aiken. Again, this is only early vote. We're at 16%. It's very, very early, but it is kind of where we are now looking at this. I want to bring you back to the main market here, if I could. Where is the main market? Here we go. Oh yeah, they've got Graham at 95. I mean, it does look like everything's going Graham's way here as far as her victory. Really, we're looking more at margin stuff now. Is it possible? His market, like I keep looking at what I would expect out of him in the yellow areas. He's getting in the 50s in a lot of these areas, and that's not going to be good enough, I don't think. I don't think there's enough vote there. So anyway, that's where we are right now. Any questions you want to drop in there? There's still, I think he's going to close the gap. C Money points that out in the chat. Tons of votes to come in Norman territory. It's true. Probably will close the gap a little. I agree. I don't think it's going to be necessarily enough. At least 53 for Darlene is in the 60s. That's not bad. That's not bad. Let me see what I've got here on that one. That's not a bad pickup coming here from C Money. Let's see, where is there we go. Vote percent, Graham 53. Yeah, I mean 52 is at you can get, yes, at 73. Yeah, I might play in the margins of some of these here as we're kind of just paying attention. I mean, 52, I'll be surprised if she doesn't clear 52. There's shares there at 73 right now if you want to buy. Let's see, 51. Is that 51% for Graham? I got to stop just saying numbers. Sorry, 51% for Graham is you got to buy at 92. It's pretty high. 73 if you 52%, you're willing to go that high. Again, 50. That's only a 4-point victory. It's a 52-48 victory. I feel like her numbers look better than that. I'm gonna pick up probably a few shares here. In the low 60s maybe. I don't know. It's tough sometimes to know, honestly, when you're doing this on the fly. That's why I like having these. Ideally you have a full model built, right? But there's a lot of races, and I don't know AI well enough to just build those things without any like AI could probably do half the stuff that I do in 5 minutes. I'm not to the point where I trust it all that much. So I don't necessarily have any like that, but you could probably get in there and get some. 51%, 87 is the highest offer as a win. That's interesting. At win, you got 91. She's down to 89 in the main market now, as you can kind of see. I've got two. By the way, I've got a trading computer. The reason I do these from this room a lot of times now is because I've got kind of my setup over here with multiple screens, and then this secondary screen that you're seeing here is the one from the streaming computer. It's 54.45. You can see this tightening a little bit. It's still, I think it's probably too early to count the guy out. Let me see if we've got any results. We've got some first results from Greenville, and that's one of the reasons this moved. And he's at 68% in Greenville. I would say that's about what I would expect from Norman. Not a terrible result for him. It's not a catastrophic. Like if he was in the 50s in Greenville, it would be catastrophic. I don't think that's going to. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. But he's in the 60s, so he's got a shot, certainly. And that's why the market's kind of trickling back toward Graham right now. Let me see if I can get, let's see if I can get, I'm going to bring Brent on. I want to bring Brent on here because he's been playing this, Georgia market and having lots of fun in it tonight. I'm not exactly sure what his strategy has been. I think Brent is he loves the long shots. He loves taking the people at the 1 and the 2 and the 3% and like watching it rise up, which is a lot of fun to do, by the way. But he loves doing that. So we'll see if he's ready to come on here in just a minute. Nope. People are saying something happened to the sound. Can you guys hear me still? That's not good. Brent is saying there's something going on with the sound. Let me know if you guys are still hearing me. I like doing the shows when people hear me and I'm not just talking to myself. Can you hear me? Yes, it looks like, yeah, they can all hear me. Sounds fine. Brent, you're the one that screwed up. See, this is why the president of the company being like, hey, your sound screwed up. So he's going to come on at some point. I don't know. Refresh your computer or something. the tech genius, Brent. Okay, so so this is where we are. We were really talking a lot about margins here at this point, and these things are going to bounce around a little bit. If you kind of look at, let's go to vote percent. This is where I'm playing right now. I like some of these numbers when we're talking about, will she get to 52? I think it looks good for her to get to 52. I don't hate 53 even. 52 seems to just be a better value because you're talking, let's see if I can bring this up. I'm bouncing back and forth between computers here, but 53, let me move to more markets. Okay, so obviously they think she's going to clear 47, 48, no problem. You go up to, the market believes that this is the area where it starts getting a little bit more questionable. There is a lot of vote that's going to come in for Norman. But if you look here, we're in the order book here if you haven't looked at that before, and we go at least 52, 76%, you got a nice profit there. You're talking about 30-something%. And her getting 52 and winning this by only 4 points, 52-48, would be a significant. I would think these later votes would have to go against her. We still have nothing from Richland County, which I would like to see. And look at, there's still a ton of vote over here in Horry County, where she's got 73% of the vote and only 21% in. She's gonna add a big chunk over there. Okay, the other vote, Spartanburg came out. Spartanburg County, and has Norman in the low 60s. Again, that seems low. I would want him higher than that in Spartanburg if he was winning this thing. This strikes me think that like these positions where you're looking at the 52, maybe even 53% might be a decent value. Will she get to, what's the main, let me look at the main number here for a second. Here it is. Right now they've got Darlene Graham at 90. Gosh, I don't hate it. I don't hate her at 90. I don't hate her at 90. There's a lot, it's, again, like nothing's for sure yet, but some of these vote totals up in this yellow belt in South Carolina, where, let me see if I can bring that up for you again here. In this sort of yellow belt, let me make sure I'm doing the right thing. I think I am. Okay, so this should hopefully pull up for you guys. This is where we're looking now, and you see the vote totals. These are the two biggest counties for Norman. Greenville, he's at 68%. Again, just the first 14% of the vote in. We don't have a ton. And also Spartanburg is the other one, 62-37. 62-37, a little closer than I think he'd want there. Some other counties, we wanted to hit 60% benchmarks in these other counties. These are the ones we're looking at. Aiken County, she's at 61%. If you want Graham to win, you'd expect her to get over 60 here. Lexington, over 60. Yes. Okay, good question is yes. Over here, Georgetown, over 60. Yes. 68. Horry, over 60. Yes. 73. There's a couple of other ones. It's always Darlington that I forget where it is. Darlington. There we go. Darlington. Again, not much vote here, but 67%. So over in this case, and it's kind of an interesting. She's overperforming what I would say she would need to win. The market obviously likes her at 90, and I think so far, the unknown right now is what happens after these first batches of votes. Is it possible that Norman does better as these votes come out? This is all early vote that's going to hit first, and so sometimes it's more pronounced when you're talking general election, because if you have a situation where it's Democrats and Republicans, almost always the Democrats are going to have they're going to do better on the early vote, they're going to do better on the mail-in vote and everything else. So that's where that is. And if you like follow it like that in a general, you can really get pretty clear signals about which way that vote total is going to go. In a primary, especially a primary, to lay this out for a second, this primary already occurred. Lindsey Graham already won this primary, okay? Lindsey Graham passes away. They have to rerun it. Then they have a a runoff. This is the third bite at the apple for South Carolina Republicans. They're sick of going to the polls. They're sick of voting. They got it's nice. South Carolina's nice. There's nice beaches. They want to do other things. So there is a difficult sort of like, I mean, it's a difficult thing to ask of voters to be this engaged. You know, I mean, even Ben Franklin would be like, all right, I mean, I said you want to be, protect the republic if you can keep it, but like this is a lot of keeping for the people of South Carolina. So it's hard to know if the dynamic is just really weird in a race like that, which is why I think in a normal primary, I would be pretty bullish on just taking 5 to 10% right now on Darlene Graham. I'm not going to sit here without a full model built and go crazy. But that is, you kind of see these key counties we've been talking about. I mean, Georgetown has now increased to 68% with a third of the vote in. Still a ton of vote here. The remaining vote is interesting because you do see this big, I mean, all this vote up here, all this yellow belt vote, if you will, is all going to come in eventually for Norman in a big way. And you see he's winning these counties 30 by 36 points and 26 points. He's going to narrow it there. But, she's got Myrtle Beach, which that was one of the big questions. This county there was a question as to whether, this county did not like Norman in the first round. And this is kind of analysis I've talked about a few times because they picked Fry in the first round. The second place, they picked Graham. And I think it was third or even fourth place in some of these counties. They went with Norman. Even Sanford did well in some of these places. Sanford, the reverse dynamic happened with Sanford. The Sanford vote expected to go more Norman's way, but people were questioning whether the Fry endorsement would do anything. He was obviously sort of pushed into it. I have no idea what he would really want in this situation. I mean, he's a conservative. Norman kind of more aligns maybe with him politically, but Fry's very loyal to Trump, and Trump wanted him to do this, and he did. And it seems like it's worked so far. Where he's only 26% of the voted, but these are big. This one here in particular is a bigger margin than I would have expected for Graham. It's just a sign of a very good Graham day. All right, let me go back to the markets here, and oh yeah, that's. Getting some messages from friends who are on these markets. I'd love to see it. Let's see. Okay. Hold on one second. I got to update. Okay. All right. Okay. Looking at the actual margin markets here. Here's the overall, by the way, to give you an update of where we are. And let me give you, actually, I'm not giving you enough of the actual results here, which is kind of important. This is what the overall results look like right now. And here we go. Okay. 53-46 right now. So it's a 7-point race. It's interesting. It's pretty close. And the markets just don't believe that it's close because they've got Darlene Graham at 97% chance to win this. And that's, because he just got a lot of vote to make up. We are starting to get some profits on our at least positions. I wound up getting above 52 and 53 smallish positions, around in the 70s. So I'm up on one and down on the other. We're kind of like, that seems to be the area everyone seems to believe this is going to land. Let's see, 85, yeah, 53, 35. Let's see. Oh, let me get Brent in here. Brent is waiting. All right, Brent, welcome in. You got me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Brent is here. Brent, president of Predictable Media, and trading these markets as well. Can you, as I'm kind of like checking in on some of these other trades, can you walk people through what on earth happened in this Georgia market? I'm going to bring it up so that people can see it. Georgia.
Yeah, 13.
Which one was it? 13. Let's see if it just pops up or not. There we go. That's the margin of victory. That's not the one I want.
Everton Blair Jr.
There we go. That's by the way, fantastic name. Everton Blair Jr. is a fantastic name. Like it's an all-timer right there, Brent. So walk people through what happened in this race and what you wound up doing.
Well, Marcy Scott and Everton Blair Jr. I was looking at the two of them. There was a big difference in where they were about 3 hours ago, and he'd raised a lot of money. I mean, I don't know a ton about that specific district other than it's a big, in terms of the midterms, it's a big, pinpoint for how the House could fall. So, I mean, you're looking at an election that's got a lot riding on it. I was looking at him. I bought in about 2 hours ago. I texted you and said, I'm making that Everton Blair. Some Everton Blair. I think I bought, let's see here. I have a 500% return. So I bought a no on her too. But, I bought yes, 13 cents was my average price, 200 contracts, and sold it later on for an average price of around 80 cents. But it just shot up. I mean, if you look at the graph, I mean, it was almost like the Crowley Hong graph and the Nixon graph were just completely two different directions. And
yeah, I mean, look at
when you used to play those old school games where like Tron, where the lines just go, in one direction, opposite where they were. It's like the market just went crazy. And I saw that he had raised a bunch of money. With the runoff, there was a lot of votes that could potentially have gone his way. And it just, the distance between the two just didn't make sense. So I took a flyer on him and ended up doing pretty well in a couple of hours.
Yeah, nothing wrong with 500% in 2 hours. That's one you can't always replicate, but that's a fantastic trade. And also, anytime you see a guy named Everton Blair Jr., you just got to go. You got to do it. You just got to go for it. There's no reason not to.
If I walked into the voting poll, and I looked at the two candidates, how do you not just go ahead and like your pen, your stylus just kind of like gravitates towards a name like that? I mean, it's not a male or female thing. It's just a leader. He's a leader.
Yes. He might be legitimately the worst politician in America, but I like him. Everton Blair Jr. is my guy. Any candidate that will give me 500% returns, I'm pretty much okay with. Looking at, let me go back here to the central show of the day here. South Carolina's again. Darlene Graham looks like she's going to win this thing. The question really is these margin markets. We've been playing a decent amount. Vote percent. When we look at this again, you see everyone pretty convinced she's going to win, so that gets her up to 50%. And you see that number is 97%, the exact same number as the main market. It's because it's telling you the exact same information, right? Because people watch these markets, a lot of people have bots and stuff. Like they're not going to let any inconsistency happen between these two numbers. They're going to pretty much, generally speaking, eventually, every once in a while you can catch one, but not that often. Will she get to 51% or 52%? Again, the market's not convinced she gets to 52. It does seem like that, you look at the way this vote is kind of playing out, Brent. It's a 7-point race right now, 23% of the vote in, 53 to 46. Can she get over that hump and keep this vote coming? I mean, again, Greenville, there's still a ton of vote in Greenville, the most vote in Greenville, if you will, if I can talk like, what's his face? Nate Bargatze. The most vote is in Greenville. But Myrtle Beach still has a ton of vote where she is dominating and doing much, much better than even expected. She's winning in Charleston. She's winning in the Columbia area. We still have nothing from Richland County, which would be another sort of marker that would be interesting to see how well she's doing. But she's hitting every one of these benchmarks we set, Brent, earlier on today, and that is for her to win this race. It looks very, very good. She's winning in that Myrtle Beach area by enough that it could indicate that she does clear these close races. Again, I don't have I have a ton here on any of these markets. I have all pretty small positions. I've made a good profit on this race already, and I didn't want to risk too much of it. But I think there's still a chance that she can get into that 52, 53% area and win by 4 or 5. The closeness of this, it does feel like it's going to be close. When this thing winds up, it looks to be, I wish I could see.
Is there any chance for a Norman surge later on?
Yeah. I mean, if you kind of, do I have this up for everybody to see? Do I have the map up, or do I have let me bring the map up again.
I took a flyer on a 0 to 3% Norman, margin of victory. I mean, just a real marker position, because I just thought if he does make a late comeback and barely clips over the line, that's going to be an amazing position.
Yes. And what is that at? Well, I mean, now that one is at the interesting part about that is I guess you could also just take him to win, right? I mean, even him winning outright at any point. I mean, I just don't think there's much of a chance of him winning by more than 3. So, you're
before before his price was higher than the margin was, and so now his price is down. I mean, it's basically looking like, at least on Kalshi, they're calling the race for Darlene Graham based upon the prices. I mean, she's locked out with her at 99%.
Market's made its mind up. Basically, the market's made its mind up that he's winning. And again, you can see in those margin markets, you can see where the market is leaning, right? In this general vicinity. Will she? And this is that 0 to 3 line right here, Brent. If you have a 0 to 3 position on Darlene Graham, this is where that plays out right here, between 51 and 52%, because again, it is a 2-person race. There's no votes that can go to anybody else. So it's 51.5 to 48.5. If she gets to 51.6% of the vote, you're going to lose that position. So that is why. And right now the market seems to believe that there's about an 80% chance she can get to 52, which would take her out. Again, taking those bracketed positions, it's not the worst thing in the world, because most of these brackets, when it starts narrowing like this, you really get a sense. Let me see if I can pull that up. Margin of victory bracket. Here we go. You get a sense as to what's left of possibilities. Right down here, Ralph Norman by 0 to 3 is very, very small chance, only 2%. But you see every other one here is just dead, right? Everything from Norman by 3 to 24 is dead. You can come in there and buy a yes share in any of these markets, as many as you want. From Norman to win by 4, you can get 79,000 shares right now at 1 cent for, if you did that, it would cost you. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm buying no. Yes, there we go. Sorry, if you go in here and you want to buy, no, excuse me, you can get anything really. You can buy everything down here. You can really just click around and buy what you want to buy. Those markets are all basically dead. If you go here, Darlene Graham, this is what the markets believe, and you can see pretty clearly where they think this is going to land. 0 to 3 is a small percentage chance. 6 to 9 is a small percentage. This seems to be this target. 83% chance. You see it going up. Look at this graph, Brent. I mean, that is clear a signal as you're going to see. It's that straight line up type of thing. It's like unemployment during COVID. That's what the chart looked like. It just looks like
and liquor sales.
Yeah, it's just a straight line straight up. So that is what it looks like. Again, it's possible either one of these others pop in here, and she could get up to 6 to 9%. Right now, the actual results show her. Let me bring up the Let me bring up the couple of these other things that I have. I think this
So at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh yeah,
in South Carolina, and knowing the polling there versus like Florida versus other states, do you feel confident that they'll be able to tally the votes, get everything wrapped up? I mean,
it's not fast. It's not Florida level, but you got 40% in a key county here. You got very little here. I mean, you see 14%. It's still a lot to come there. It's a big thing. The other thing we need to talk about too, and I should have mentioned this, polls just closed over here for Oklahoma governor. This is Mike Mazie, Mazie and Gettner Drummond. I have position over there. I've been kind of trickling out my Mazie there. I've sold half of it maybe today. Let's see. I'm looking at my positions over here and seeing what we have. I'm fine like locking in the profit that I have on this already. I'm up 44% on this trade already. I could ride it out and get it up to 60, 51, 55 maybe percent in that general vicinity, but like, I don't know. You sometimes wonder if you should. Why am I bothering? But none of the votes out yet, right? Like if this first batch of vote comes out, Gettner Drummond is up by 25 points, all of a sudden it's going to feel like, gosh, I should have sold for a profit earlier. You just wish you knew in advance, and that's the game. That's the game here.
What about the Democratic Senate nominee, Priest and Thomas, Jim Priest?
Here we go. So that is that that's Thomas in her, she's known as Jasmine. Isn't this the one that's known as Jasmine? I don't know. Thomas looks to be the leader here. Again, big favorite. I have not watched that race all that closely, frankly. But I mean, not as closely as you watched Everton Blair Jr.
Oh, man, it's hard to keep your eyes off him and his name. But I just was looking at this one. Jim Priest, he raised a lot more money than Jazz Hands Thomas. What did you call her? Jazz Hands?
Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Jazz Hands better though. I like it.
So he had raised a bunch of money, and he was down pretty low. I took a marker position just to see, but no votes have come in yet. And again, the margin is so drastically wide between the two of them that I didn't know if there would be any movement. If you're taking the 7.3 cents right now position on Jim, if there's any chance for him to pull up.
This is what you look for. Explain your philosophy here, because I've never seen you take a favorite, I don't think, in any of these markets, frankly.
Well, here, first of all, with these primaries, I feel like I signed up for a rodeo that I didn't know I was going to be going to. The wildness of all of these races, and the way that the markets have responded whenever vote counts come through, and then obviously the polling data has been askew from time to time, and not really telling the story the way it should be. So you see these wild rides, and it trains you to think, well, why is he at 7 cents? Is there something that I'm missing? And then you go, well, I'm looking at some other data. I don't live in Oklahoma. Like I said, I have friends up there. I'm not a registered Democrat in Oklahoma, but there's just some math here that doesn't add up to me. And I like to make 10% of my money, sure, but I like to make 528% thanks to Everton Blair Jr. And so with these kind of races where you can get, let's say, you buy 100 shares for around 5 cents, or even just whatever your pain tolerance is, it's a marker, it's a flyer, and then he goes up to 15, 20 cents. Then you're obviously able to make a profit there. But if the polling data is accurate and the markets are correct, then you're going to see when the votes come out, him continue to go down, and that's obviously okay if you're not putting all of your mortgage payment on the guy. But his last name is Priest, and so he may be blessed. And so I'm just saying,
That's the sort of deep analysis you put into this, I see.
I love some faith and some, politics, some religion and politics. Everybody loves to talk about faith and politics. Let's go.
So Drummond out to a little bit of a lead here early. And this is the type of, this is what you kind of see in these moments. It's tough to, let's see where you kind of see where the vote came out. Lots of Drummond vote in Tulsa. I think you'd expect him to do better in this, some of these cities. Of course, Oklahoma City is really where most of the vote's going to come out for this. You see big margins for Drummond out here, but you see it's not much vote here. I mean, really, when we're talking about hundreds of votes, there's really nothing. We've got 3% of the vote in. It's 53-47 currently. Again, I'm kind of trickling out my vote. Nothing. Nothing. I'm not doing anything. I've taken my position from a large position through the day to a medium position, and then as we've kind of gone through the situation here today, down to now borderline almost small position, just because I'm up a lot on this, and I don't want to screw it up. That's kind of where we go. So
read the amendments. Yeah, you got to read the amendments back to yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Give me
I'm looking at some of the chat here. Look at Stoney says, why only 20% yes on 375,000 total votes when estimated remaining vote puts it at over 386,000?
So I'm out, by the way, on Maisie, to let you know. I don't know if he's going to win or lose. Right now, he's a little bit behind. The markets are reacting. It's now gone down to a 50-50 type race almost. So I am happy, very pleased to be out right now with a 40 some odd % profit. I'm very happy with the timing of that, as now I'm seeing it go down to the 40s. Let me see where else. I want to look at some of the other vote tabulators here and see what they're saying about Oklahoma. Drummond basically up by 6. It's really going to come down to what happens in Oklahoma City. Let me go back to the earlier results. Okay. I want the first. Let's see. Oops. Clicking on the wrong stuff here. Sorry, I know this is a live stream, and I feel the need to fill every second with talking, but I want to make sure I'm looking this. We've got some fast movement in Oklahoma right now. You see that what you're seeing on the screen there is DDHQ's count, which does have, has it at 13,000 votes in. This is the first round. I want to take a quick look at this first round and see what I see. So what you're going to expect here is, Drummond. I mean, Drummond in a close race won Oklahoma City last time and the areas around Oklahoma City. And now it's bouncing back up into the 60s. I'm going to bring you back to the market here because this market is pretty freaking.
The first round of votes coming in for Jazz Hands and Priest has her pretty far ahead. I mean, she's coming in at 3,200 votes to his 2,500. So not a great start for our boy, my boy.
Yeah, please don't give. So look at this. Look at the way this really interesting. You see it at 86. This is where I was selling all through here, and just to protect the profit. You see the drop off here. He may very well still win. He's at a 58.36 right now, is what these markets say. You see just the wild moving around here over the last couple of hours. I guess I do expect. Let me look at what we have left. No vote out of Oklahoma
But
City.
I guess that is the point right there. I mean, you have such a wide distance between the two, and then all of a sudden, information hits at 7:15 or whatever it was, and
4% of the vote. Right?
I mean, massive movement. And then you go, well, what does that say? And then it just keeps doing the up and down. I mean, I think part of that is where to jump on and jump off. And I think you obviously know better than anybody. I don't know if this type of behavior in these markets is the new norm, or if there's a way to anticipate which markets are going to do more of this. But it seems like this is more often than not the behavior of some of these primaries, at least, that have polling data or have initial markets, and then all of a sudden it's just bam, election night, and it's the Wild West.
It is. So it's interesting, Brent, because I think this is why you've had success, and I've had success as well this term, going in at really low levels on some of these candidates and riding them up, laddering out of those positions to protect your profits, and taking those tiny, small positions and going the opposite way on them. We've had success with that because it is a little bit, there's not a lot of polling. We don't have a lot of information. There's a lot of kind of art and guesswork going into the numbers leading up to this. If you look at all of this here, this is all kind of just I don't know, maybe we'll see. Going back to let's look at a month. Very little movement through this period, right? Maisie goes from basically, 70 to 80 in that range all the way through here. And all of this stuff there's very little information. And what prediction markets are really good at is when they get information, as you're seeing here, they are able to react to it. And right now we've got what the markets see as a 50-50 race. Drummond up 54-45. Now, what's interesting, so let me give you one piece of information that's kind of interesting, Brent. Mike Maisie won in Tulsa County 35-33 in the first round of this election. Okay, so a very slight win for Maisie. So far, the vote is out in Tulsa County. It's only 8% of the vote, but Drummond's winning. Okay, so kind of an interesting thing. Some of that vote that was not Maisie or Drummond vote wound up going the opposite direction, right? If you look at Oklahoma City, and we do have a little bit of vote there, Drummond is up 56-44. He won Oklahoma City or Oklahoma County which is Oklahoma City, by only 2 points last time, and now leads by 12. So both of those numbers are better than you might expect. The big warning, of course, is it's super early, but I think that's what you're looking at this and how they're reacting to this. Drummond seems to be overperforming a couple of his previous numbers in these counties from the first round, and when that happens, that's usually enough. But look, we're guesstimating because it's very difficult to know. You can look deeper into these counties and kind of see more detail on them, but that's the picture right now. I did want to just one other update. Richland County was a county we were watching, and we were talking about a 60% type of margin for Graham in that race. She's at 57 there. So this is the first one out of all of these where she sort of underperformed that 60 point benchmark we kind of gave her tonight. Every other one she's above or well above that 60%, but she's close in that belt, and that's where you wonder, coming up to the yellow areas on that map I was showing you earlier, is there enough vote for her? Is there enough vote for Norman to really make a run at this? Can we go over to the Norman? Let's go back to the Norman market here. I know this one's pretty exciting. By the way, Maisie now an underdog, and I think it's fair. I think that's where I don't love the way that the first vote is coming out, and knowing where the rest of the vote is key. I would expect Oklahoma City to be relatively close, but right now Drummond's winning it, and that's how people are reacting to this. Now, there's going to be smart people with big full models made of all these races, and those people are seemingly influencing the market toward Drummond right now as well.
If Everton Blair Jr. has the perfect name, Genter Drummond does just the opposite. It totally is a.
You're not a Gentner Drummond guy?
Yeah. No, I even misspelled his name. I mean, I mispronounced it. Gentner. His name would be on the bottom of my go-tos for naming my kid. But I mean, whatever. I always remember, this is me with my ADHD. You remember watching Different Strokes. I think the last name of the dad who adopted them was Drummond. I was thinking Mr. Drummond. That's how old that name sounds to me.
Yes, it does.
Gentner. And so with this race, I mean, Oklahoma is an odd specimen of a state. I mean, seems like it would be pretty easy to dissect the state, but I mean, any wild theories of what's going to happen tonight?
I mean, this is why I sold, Brent, before the vote started coming out, which I'm glad I did, by the way. Because I see a comment here from, and this is you and C Money going back and forth here earlier in the chat as I was kind of checking over some of the chats. Let's see. Where is it? I agree with Brent's strategy. I often look at 90% plus markets and ask myself, their certainty is based off of what? And if I can't answer what, I may put a small amount on it. That is it's a great way of thinking of this. I mean, especially if it's a small amount, because you only have to hit 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 of those, right? If it's a small amount of money on a small position. By the way, Graham to hit 52%, which would get rid of those really close brackets, is at 86% chance right now. 42% chance to get over 53% is where that's sitting. I'm going to go to yes. Let's see what yes looks like just for the fun of it. Yeah, you can get 37% you can buy right now to get her over 53%. To get her over 52%, your only available shares, Brent, are 94. So it does look like a win, as you may have seen when I scrolled past it here. Darlene Graham at 99 now to 1. It does seem like she's going to win this race. I don't see. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to go look at a couple of the other sources that I follow here and see if I can get any additional perspective.
Once I've typically seen a race go to this level of disparity, it's pretty much over, and I don't ever see it recover at this point. I mean, once the markets hit that threshold, it's almost like it's settled before it's even gotten to 50% of the vote. And that's why I'm asking: are there counties or are there places that could surprise and bump him back up from 1% to 4 or 5%? I haven't seen this resolve well for anybody so far. Typically, there's movement in the market still, a lot of movement. So they're not at 1%. They'll fluctuate, pretty heavily around 2, 3, 4. They may go down to 1. They're going back up again. This stillness of 99% to 1%, the market is just not believing anything other than Graham's going to win. Yep.
I agree. I mean, Norman is still. I mean, there's about how many thousands of votes here? Let me look at this map again. Right now, it is 54-46, about 14,000 votes in between. I mean, Greenville, he's going to gain. I mean, if he, let's see, the Greenville County, there's, let's see, 14% of the vote in. He's up by a couple thousand votes there, 2,500. Oh, here we go. Big batch just came in Greenville. Just came in Greenville as I'm watching it. See it tighten right now? But you might see movement on Norman as we're watching this. Let's see if we do. Do I have this up? Because a big batch just came out, and it tied now to a 3-point race. Now only 6,000 votes. He's at 68%, 50. He's at 10,000 votes, a little over half. He could probably make up another 7,000 or 8,000 votes off of this. Would, if you don't count any of the other state, Greenville, that would bring him basically back into a tie if that were to hold. Now she's going to add votes in other counties, but that is going to make it. I think that's going to make it a lot closer as we go. Let me see if I can see.
But it's not changing the markets on Kalshi.
It's not yet. No, we will see if it does. Because I mean, I'm looking at some of these other vote sites, and some of those don't have those numbers yet. Because 51% of the vote is in. It would be interesting. I mean, as a flyer to go in here and just, there's 800, there's tons and tons of shares out here. Is it an opportunity to ladder a little bit and just see, put in like 1,000 shares, right? Just to, because it's going to cost you $10, as you see here, $10.70. He's not going to win, but I don't think. But will he pop up to 2 or 3 cents is the question. And you could, one of the ways when we talk about laddering, for those who don't know, let's say you buy at 1, you say you buy 1,000 shares at 1. You then would set a sale. You try to put it on sale. The easiest way to remember it, there's variations of this, but put half the shares, 500, at 2 when you put it on for a sale, and that pays for your initial investment. So you're out basically at that point even, and the rest of it's house money. Again, I don't know if that's going to be worth it here. It will be interesting to see if he pops at all, because when people start seeing, like for example, I'm looking at a couple of different sources for this race. Darlene Graham, and now I'm seeing some of them change. The New York Times is kind of reflecting those new results now. 51-48. I mean, it's 5,000 votes different, and it's a 99-1 race. It's interesting. I mean, if nothing else, it keeps your attention. He did what he had to do in that race, Brent, in that batch of votes.
Yeah, and they're saying in the chat, Greenville's still at 12%, has not yet changed on the Associated Press. So I guess
they might not be.
The information is not coming out and making a difference in the markets on Kalshi. I wonder if, because we've always talked about how the markets really do reflect, where people put their money is what they believe, and is there enough future vote to bring to Norman to get him? Are people just kind of resting because they know there's no more real gain from trying to squeeze out a little bit of money from these shares, and they're just kind of resolving that she's going to win, and they don't want to try and jostle with the lower percentages, knowing that there's a gamble there, and she's got it on lock. Graham's a big name there. I don't know. I mean, I was really surprised whenever you immediately sold your shares just on principle last week, which I applaud you, sir. That was well done. I mean, I totally respect a man who's got principles, and that's always a fine standard. The thing about the South Carolina people, though, is they're very proud people that love they love their traditions, and I'm not sure what they feel about the Graham family, but I think sometimes you talked about voter fatigue. I wonder if they're just kind of settling in that she's going to be the nominee.
Makes me a little nervous about this forthcoming election. I mean, I have some positions of South Carolina in the general to be something like 90% chance. I'm just, frankly, you look at that and you say,
well, her debate performance, her debate,
so bad.
She's got to get a coach or somebody. I mean, somebody's going to have to feed her answers. I mean, that was
got to be better.
That was like the campaign Yeah, the campaign level bad, the Zach Galifianakis movie.
Which, by the way, great movie. Have we talked about this on the stream? Great movie.
I don't know, but I love that movie. It's a great movie.
Because it's very underrated.
We quote that all the time.
If you've never seen Zach Galifianakis in The Campaign, you should go watch it. It's good. Just kind of skimming around here and trying to get a sense. What we've seen here is, I was just glancing at this. Whereas, let me bring you back over to bring this over. So you look at Norman here at 1%. See, Telegram, what's no? What does she have at no? I'm curious. No is 630,000 shares there. The reason why this isn't changing is there's a lot of shares out there, Brent. Like if you want to buy, this has gone down from, if you see here, 522,000 shares of yes on Norman. That's what I'm looking at right now. 522,000 shares. This was 780,000 shares not long ago. People are starting to like chip away and like think, is this a long shot? Is this something that we can do? There's just a lot of shares there. And it's just, you see the number getting smaller, but I don't know that it clears out. If he keeps it this close for a while, though, even just like people are going to be like, do I really want to get 1% on my money? Or am I that sure when we have a 5,000 to 7,000 vote race? People don't like that. But Greenville is now 47% of the vote is in. So he's going to add probably another 10,000 votes from Greenville, give or take. He's going to add some from Spartanburg. He's got some of these other counties. She is going to add probably another 6,000 or 7,000 votes in Horry County. I don't know if it's Horry or Horry. I mean, it's Robert Horry, but I'm not from South Carolina. Sorry. Darling Graham probably getting another 1,000 votes out of Georgetown as far as margin. Darlington, not much.
We've got Ryan G in the chat asking about Oklahoma updates. I think we do care.
All right, I'm sorry.
South Carolina seems to be a little bit ahead just because of the voting, but no, I think Oklahoma needs to be. There's some changes happening there.
All right, I'm going here. I'm going here, Ryan. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to steer the semi.
You know what? I didn't scroll the chat
towards the interstate.
There we go. Okay. All right.
We see you, Ryan G. We see you. We hear you.
We love you, Ryan. Okay, here we go. 65-35. Maisie now back ahead. What a roller coaster of a race. And you're right, Ryan. Thanks for calling us out on that, because this is a good race to watch too. It's honestly, both of them are really, really interesting to watch right now. So we'll try to bounce back and forth between them. Maisie at 65. So what's the vote count right now is Drummond 53, Maisie 47. Let me bring up the map and let's get into map mode here, boys and girls. Let's see. Let's look at the New York Times map here this time. Where did I lose that? Here we go. Oklahoma election. Here we go. Got to bring this up. I think I can do that. Hold on 1 second. Let me just make sure I can do that. Give me 1 second. Okay. I think I can. All right. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. This is what we're looking at here. I'm on the right screen. Yes. Okay. I get confused sometimes because of the delay. So 53-46 is where we are right now. This is the race that we're talking about. If you kind of see over here, this is obviously the Drummond area around here. This is a key, really, to me. Drummond at 56-44, only 10% of the vote in, but this is going to be the biggest county of the night. You see the rest of these are all in the hundreds, some of these even not even in the hundreds. So this looks really impressive. All this red over here, this is a 70-49, right? Like that's what we're talking about. Down in this corner, the south east corner, you've got 66-34. These are all smaller counties as well. I want to show you though the first round of this election. Okay, that is right here. Right here. No, coming up. Here we go. All right. Look how colorful the map is. It's a beautiful, beautiful. It's the whole spectrum of colors. So you see a lot of this this is the Chip Keating area, but you see Drummond. This is a really weird race, by the way, when we were talking about it live. But you see Drummond doing better over here. So this was his sort of area. Now you see the yellow here. This is Drummond County, but look at 27-25. Really, really close. but a vote center, right? This is one of the biggest vote centers here. Cleveland County, Drummond 26-25. Tulsa, really small win for Mazie, 35-33. So if you kind of look at that and then compare it, so you think Mazie probably, should hope. These were all really close. So who's going to win these counties is kind of where this whole thing plays out. Look at the vote totals here, 20,000, 19,000. Over here, you've got 15,000, 14,000. Now let's go back to today's same race today. Oklahoma, so far, only 10% of the votes in. So you're going to have those 20,000 type vote numbers. Drummond's up 56-44 so far. In Tulsa, Drummond up 55-45. If you remember, those are very, very tight races initially. These are just really early vote totals. So you don't know whether to believe it. The market right now doesn't seem to believe this is going to hold for Drummond because, you look at, we're going to go back here. Here we go. This is the Drummond race right now. The fact that they still have Mazie up kind of tells you they don't buy that yet. That is sort of the lesson, like what the market right now does not believe that's going to be long. I'm not in on Drummond no right now. Again, I have a big, not big, but I have a large position and a 40% profit in this market. So I'm kind of like playing on the fringes, frankly, at this point. Not getting too excited about jumping in and just burning my profit on the fly stuff, but there may be options here as we go. Sharon
does
has
the Trump endorsement help?
What's that?
Mazie, does the Trump endorsement? Yeah, this with the later votes in those counties.
Yeah, and it was kind of like our central thesis, of why we were on Mazie. There wasn't a massive reason. There's a big controversy in the state about some aluminum smelting plant. I don't want to get. Let's see. I don't really know how much you want to get into aluminum smelting talk, but basically Drummond accused Mazie of being a check mark for this big smelting plant. Now this was a big thing, and one of the reasons why Trump endorsed Mazie, and because he doesn't like Drummond. Drummond blocked that plant, and Trump wanted it. It parallels in some ways, Brett, the data center thing we're seeing right now. Forget for a second what side of that debate you're on. It doesn't really matter. It's just a very it's a way that you can win a local election, right? There's enough people who care about stuff like that, and the aluminum smelting plant was one of these things, right? It was one of these divisive local things that wound up turning this race into a competitive one. Now, Mazie may very well win. He's only down by 5 points. He's only down by 2,000 votes. This is still a very open election. It really comes down to what do we see in Oklahoma, which right now 10% of the vote is in. Drummond leads. Tulsa, what do we see there? Let me look at DDHQ and see if they've got any other.
This is breaking news, but I just put a little bit of money on Mazie. Just a little bit.
A little bit. Okay, see, I like that. Breaking news. Live breaking news. Marker position, small position.
Yes.
Where are you?
Marker position. I put a limit order in right around 70 cents. I think that's good if I got that kind of profit return. I'm just seeing what you're saying, and I'm looking at your maps, and you're really pretty maps, by the way. You have beautiful. Your colors on your maps are amazing. I don't think I've seen a more gorgeous map.
Credit to the New York Times.
Oh, that wasn't you.
No. That
so
was not.
If you know Oklahoma, I don't live close to South Carolina, but if you know Oklahoma, the city centers are very specific, and those rural areas, there's not a lot of vote there. So if you're talking about Oklahoma City and Tulsa, you're talking about basically the framework for the entire voting pool, and you're not going to see any more votes coming in from. Obviously, there's a lot of Indian territory there, so there's a lot of stuff blocked out. So in those city centers, I just can see there being a lot more amazing votes than Drummond. I'm saying that based upon your coverage, what I'm seeing tonight. I think there was an initial surge for Drummond, but I am not. I put a marker position, y'all. I didn't put my entire portfolio.
Well, you're up big tonight. You're just,
but I do.
you're just going to give back a little bit, and that's all. If you lose, you give back a little.
I got
bit
that. Yeah, I've got the Everton money, the Everton Blair Jr. money.
I mean, I feel like Halloween's right around the corner. You definitely should not dress up as Everton Blair, though. Just to let you know, that would not be a good. That would not be a good career move for you.
Our Canadian Prime Minister to the north, kind of, he set a standard for that. I think we'll all kind of avoid.
I mean, I still have seen no movement in a lot of these counties in Oklahoma. So, I'm going to check back in when Oklahoma. I want to keep bouncing back and forth so we don't. These are two races really that are interesting going on at the same time. And honestly, the Everton Blair one, is that one basically resolved at this point? Do we think there's any more action in Everton Blair land?
Let me see here. Pull it up.
Here we go.
It's Georgia 13.
Yeah, 99-1 now. Looks like he's up by about 1,000 votes. So there you go. All right, I'm gonna keep checking. Brent, give me a minute here. I'm gonna try to check in on a couple other sources. And
these races, thank goodness we don't have an Alaska or Hawaii race or even California. So these are going to be steady tonight for South Carolina, Oklahoma, and the races tonight I know are significant for midterms, but in terms of the prediction markets, Stu's been talking about this for a while. So if you're following us on predictableshow.com, thank you all who are subscribed to Predictable Substack, and a lot of new features coming out soon. But we're trying to add as many features as possible so that we can make the midterms as magnificent as we possibly can for you. So just even in the chat tonight, if y'all have features you're wanting to see, and by the way, all those Stu's covers, I'm designing those with some crazy prompts. So if there's any genre of music you want to see on Stu's picks for the paid subscribers, we're taking requests. We're taking music requests, and would love to hear those. But that's been fun to see. A lot of people are enjoying the subscription. It's what we're trying to do is just start a community of people that enjoy this sort of thing. I would say that Stu is the Jedi. I've learned a lot from him too. I mean, I do a lot more in golf, a lot more in a little bit of baseball, which is baseball is kind of the same thing. I mean, like tonight you'll see the Dodgers are playing the Rockies, and it's a 35% favorite, the Dodgers, and then first inning happens, or maybe they're playing the Braves. I forgot who they're playing. Just the first inning happens, and there's an immediate 50-50. There's just the reality check is that anything can happen, and that's what's fun about it. Obviously, that's what's fun about looking at these markets and being able to study them together. For those people that trade all the time, I met a couple of guys in April. A guy named Domer and Scotty Licious, both amazing people, but they study. They do their homework, and so does Stu. So the idea here with Predictable is that we're learning together. We're building this thing together. For those who want to participate at a higher level, it's cool to see everybody and start to know names. People email me directly all the time. It's nice to have interaction with folks who love these markets. And as we go into the midterms, it's just going to get a lot more exciting to see some of the positions that could be taken. I would say there's still a lot up in the air for the midterms and a lot of profit potential. Even though we're not financial advisors. If I had a financial advisor named Everton Blair Jr., I would be on a beach somewhere. That guy would be making me all sorts of money. More than the profit tonight.
Let me interrupt real quick and tell you that Decision Desk has just projected Darlene Graham to win in the Senate race in South Carolina for the Republican nomination. They're usually on the early side. They don't miss very often, though. So I would say that one is over. I'm looking at it right now. No more contracts are available to buy on Yes for Graham. So market's already cleaned out of those. Norman knows. Also, nothing left. The margin stuff looks pretty. You can see here, this looks pretty well fleshed out where they believe this is going to land. Is Graham going to win by 0 to 3? No, basically. Is Graham going to win by 6 to 9? No, it seems like this 3 to 6 area we're at 97% chance it lands in there. So what we saw kind of here was not a blowout. I mean, a pretty competitive race. One of the reasons why in a two-person's race I love going no on these really close ones is it feels really hard to get races that land that close. This is going to come near it probably, but just, getting a race that, I mean, it's just 50. If it's exactly even, it's 50-50. You just have to get 1.5% more, and then it's out of that first bracket. So that bracket's really hard. It just feels really hard to hit. I don't have a great scientific argument for that. It's not a data-driven argument per se, but it does feel like it's very rare that happens, that sort of margin. Anyway, that's where we go. By the way, we do at some point have to switch over. What are we? 15 minutes away from the predictable subscriber chat. We will switch over to that. Subscribers only. If you are a premium member, we'd love to have you over on that chat. We'll keep going with this. There's still some stuff to find in some of these markets. So join us if you want to upgrade to the premium tier. We would love that. It's really Oklahoma now that we're going to go to and probably spend more time on as we go forward. So if you'd like to join us over there, we would love to see you. This is what the Oklahoma race looks like right now. Gettner Drummond now back on top, 59-50 in that particular race. Also, let me just go through some of the comments here. Let's see. What do we have?
I mean, look at that wavy line. It's like one of those audible tests that you get at the doctor's office. I mean, geez.
I know. It was funny too. Like I saw this, a couple people online, there was a little bit of a debate about, oh, well, prediction markets, if they're so smart, how come they're wildly swinging back and forth? And it's like, well, first of all, I mean, I can give you study after study that has showed that these things are right over a long period of time. So, you taking this real time, crazy 1 in 1,000 market and be like, well, that's an example. Like, it's one example. But when you look at, I mean, they just, Kalshi just did a version of this where they did over 2 million different contracts and looked at what is the, how well are they calibrated? And I mean, like, I can show you all the charts. I'd probably do a segment on this maybe next week or something, but basically, like, it's almost perfectly calibrated. And same thing with another study that someone did outside of Kalshi beforehand, which was more like 70,000 markets and found the exact same thing. So these are really well calibrated markets. But what you're seeing on the screen over here, Brent, is just like, I don't know, like, it's close is what they're saying. That's what the markets are saying. We're not sure. We have a bunch of information. It's kind of, some of it's conflicting and we're reacting to it. That doesn't make it wrong. And as we say over and over again, if these things were perfect, none of us would be able to make money. If the Everton, Everton Davis Jr., whatever his name is, if that was a perfect situation, then you wouldn't be able to lock in these profits, right? Like, there would be no profits to have. It would be perfect.
Jr., sir.
Everton Blair Jr. That's much better than Everton Davis. Yes. Davis Jr. just works together from Sammy. But okay, let's see. They do keep flipping. Let's see. I'm gonna look at the vote here and bring this up. So Drummond's
breaking news. I'm buying more. This is me going down a really dark path. I'm buying more Maisie at a. I'm trying to dollar cost average. Yes, you can do that in these markets. But
yes,
I still feel some. There's still some votes out there for him, but I don't listen to me to put too much in there. I mean, the wild ride probably will continue just for a little bit more, and we'll be able to see that on the live stream coming up. I'll break off here to have a little quick time with the fam, and then I'll jump back on to the
we'll see
stream with you later on.
Yeah, cool.
Hey, enjoyed it, everybody.
Right, I want to say good luck with your position.
All right, see you.
Yeah, all right, there we go. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks so much.
So here's the Maisie race right now. Let me bring up one of these maps here for you. Let me bring up this. I like this New York Times so we can kind of look at both back and forth. Give you a picture here. So this is the old one again. Again, just if you missed this earlier, not a lot of vote over here. Not a lot of people going to vote. These are all in the hundreds. Almost every county over here is in the hundreds. So Not much to think about over there. Same thing, kind of like there's a couple like Osage County around Tulsa, this area around Tulsa, you start getting a lot of votes. We expect 50,000 votes in Tulsa. We expect 50,000 plus votes in Oklahoma County. Another one down here, 11, 13, Cleveland County, maybe 25,000 votes. There's other counties, other candidates below that. Just most of this down here is pretty small. Probably not going to be the determinant factor. So what we're looking at basically, if we want to really simplify this, and this is kind of how I'm thinking about it right now, is this Tulsa County. Mazie won this by 2%. Remember that. Mazie by 2. Oklahoma County, Drummond by 2. Cleveland County, Drummond by 1. Okay, so 3 very close counties. Who's going to win those 3 counties is what this race is, in my mind. Okay, we don't have a ton of, did I even show you? Sorry, I was sorry. Let me do that again. So I was in the wrong screen. Tulsa, 35% right here. Then you have Oklahoma. There's that 2-point margin, 1-point margin down here in Cleveland. So let's just look basically at those 3, because whoever can do well in those 3. You expect those to be all really, really close. Now let me go over and grab the current map. This is the one we're looking at today. Right now, Drummond leads 51-48 in a very close contest. I'm going to switch this over to today's vote. Here we go. So let's look at those 3 counties again. This is what we're seeing. Tulsa County, Drummond by 10. Oklahoma, Drummond by 12. Cleveland, very, very close again. But that's with 29% of the vote. This is the most vote by far. The question is, can Drummond hold this, or does it go the other way? These 2 counties, Oklahoma and Tulsa, double-digit leads right now for Drummond. You see, this is an indicator that it's not going to stick. Right now you see this Cleveland County, which he was leading by more, Drummond was leading by more. We get this batch of votes in, and that's only a 1-point or 2-point race now, much closer. But again, Drummond's still winning all 3 of those key counties. That's my impression as to why these markets look like they look right now. And you see Drummond up at 63 and Mazie down to 33%. I've talked to you about this a lot. I think, I had Mazie, as you may have followed earlier. I got out of it before the vote even counted. I sold all of my stuff, wound up with before this kind of craziness happened, locked in my 40%-ish profit. And I'm not necessarily looking to dive back in, but I will if I can kind of figure this out. Right now it feels me leaning Drummond. But I'm not going to jump in until I'm a little bit more sure. Right now, 51.5. Let's see, I can bring this back up. This is the vote count. 51.5 to 48.5. This is the other race, by the way. 58. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Jasmine Thomas up 58.41 right now. And look, we got a call right there. Let's take this opportunity. When you have something like that, I don't think there's going to be any votes really here, but yes, you can get some at 99.8. Anybody interested in 99.8 shares? You can make like 4 cents if you want to jump in that right now. Probably a good chance you're going to hold on to that 4-cent profit. It's really kind of up to you, I suppose. If you're interested in such a thing, I would assume that's going to dry up very, very quickly if it's not already. That's not, it looks like I don't really see anything else on there right now. I mean, just clicking around here, I don't see much of anything on these markets anymore. But as you see, it kind of called in front of our eyes. Anyway, sometimes it's fun to just kind of go in there and See if you can grab those 99-cent shares, take that percentage on something that seems pretty much a sure thing. Let's see. All right, we're a few minutes away from switching over to the premium chat. If you want to keep joining us, I know this gets going for a long time. Thanks so much for hanging out. If you have any other questions here before I leave, I'll be happy to kind of dig through them. Let's see. Let me move you back to the other race we were just on. Where did it go? I don't know. Let me go back to Oklahoma here and see if we're getting any more results on this one. Still 12% of the vote in. Drummond holds that 12-point lead. Tulsa. Okay, here's this. We've had some narrowing already here. Now this is down to a 6-point in Tulsa, and we're only at 11% of the vote in. So really, Mazie is narrowing this as he needs to. These are still really early. This is going to go on for a while, boys and girls. We're not going to call this, it's not going to be one of those things where we're going to be, I don't think this race is going to be called for a bit. A good close one today. We had a couple of good close races today. These are really competitive. See if I can get into the vote percent here and see what we're looking at. So, I hate when they're out of order. Like, there we go. Okay, 40. So this is they do it in 3. You see 3 pairs of 3 or jumps of 3 here. Will he get to 45%? Will he get to 48%? Will he get to 51%? It would be shocking to see that he wouldn't get to 45% in that race. Let's see, where is that one? My very late position into Nikayla Jasmine Thomas has profited me a good 80 cents, boys and girls, 80 big cents. What does that mean? Nothing, really. Inflation's probably wiped out that 81 cents already, but don't worry about it. We'll take it where we can get it. We will take it where we can get it. What am I looking for now? Let's go to the Mazie. Let's go to some of these Mazie ones here real quick. Mazie now back up in the head. He's at 56%. Drummond at 40. He could be, that's probably because of the vote we were just talking about, how he's closing the gap in those particular markets or counties. Let's see, where are we here? Had a long night last night, boys. After watching that, the Gutfeld thing, and then I went out afterwards, and then I had a flight this morning, so I'm exhausted. So hopefully, some of the things I'm saying are making sense. I'm doing my best. I am trying. Does the Mazie race feel Hong-like? That's interesting. I mean, there wasn't obviously the big favorite. That was kind of the thing that set the Hong race apart. We do have a lot of these back and forth races sometimes. It's not totally crazy to see, but when you kind of go and you look at this and say, oh wow, they're back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's there's a play to make here on some of these races where you could just be like, look, I'm taking the underdog over and over and over again and selling when they get back up in front. The problem is eventually that dries up, and you don't know if it happens 3 times or 4 times or 5 times or 6 times. Like this is one, maybe Adam, if Adam producer is listening, this might be a good example of the perfect trade. We did that bit on the Hung thing, but like, you sell Mazie at 86, you buy Mazie at 51. You sell Mazie at 59, you buy him back at 40 or 37. And you can see like it bouncing back and forth. If you just knew exactly what was going to happen all the time. I mean, I don't know. I'm mildly more favorable. Mildly, maybe on. I don't know. I keep talking myself out of this. I mean, I kind of feel mildly more positive for Drummond, but I think that's just because we're so early. I mean, these 3 counties are absolutely going to decide this. With little bits and pieces over here. I mean, I guess like if it's really, really close, some of these other ones can make a difference, but that's where we are. Let's look at votes left here. You kind of see most of the vote is Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and here in Cleveland. A little bit over here. If you look in this, there's a little bit over here that's left, but like these 3 are going to be See these big circles? 51,000 votes remaining, 44,000 votes remaining, 16,000 votes remaining. Those are really going to make the difference. It's just a matter of who's going to win this. This is why this is so close. It's close because it's close. It's bouncing back and forth like this because it's close. In a way, it's really doing its job, right? It's like it's telling you, I don't know, this is so close, I don't know what the outcome is. And no poll, no prediction market is supposed to give you down to the 10th of a, like the Hong race was a great example of this. I mean, like none of these are supposed to give you that much detail. They can't possibly do it. Like they're not designed to do it. They're not supposed to do it. So that's where we are. Now let me look at some of the other comments here. I've got a bunch of them in the chat. Let's bring up some of them from, let's see, we got some YouTubes, got some Facebooks. Let's see, can you see these? Actually, this is a terrible background. Let me bring up the DDHQ here for a minute, because that looks gonna make it a lot easier for you to see the comments. All right, let me go back and see. This is me being a producer, and I used to be a producer back in the day. But how about that? Can you see that? Is that a good one? How about this one? This might be the best one. There we go. How about that? Okay. Let's bring up some of their comments here. Let's see. Cheryl says, Darlene Graham won. Yeah, she did, Cheryl. I know. It's a big win. It was a close call. Kind of went back and forth on that one. Scott writes from Facebook, if Drummond wins Oklahoma, we are cooked. I got to say, like, some of the stuff, like my kids said Sigma for a while, and they said Riz a bunch of times. Cooked, I like. I got to say, Cooked's one of my favorite ones from that. Let's see, Facebook. You was great on Gutfeld last night. Had a great time. They were awesome. Lots of Gutfeld stuff here. It was great to see you on Gutfeld from Mark on Facebook. Thanks so much. A lot of fun. Let's see, that's good. Okay. Anyway, so lots of comments there, and we got tons on. If you want to join us on Substack as well, we're going to go to the subscribers only chat here in just a second. Thanks so much for joining us. Just to tell you where we are, we have a show tomorrow where we'll go over this stuff and kind of go through what happened here. I would love if you go to the on Substack. It's a predictableshow.com. Go there. There's a chat feature. If you're a subscriber, you can be a free subscriber, paid subscriber. There's a chat feature. Drop your winners and losers in there. Maybe we can post something that says audience winners and losers. If someone from the social team can like maybe lead people into the right thread, because we love going through your big wins, your big losses. Give us a review of what you did tonight. I mean, I'm going to wind up with a really nice night, largely because of my Maisie position that I've held for a while. And you don't really count it as tonight because I sold a week or two ago, but we were up on Graham too. So we were up about 40% on Maisie, about 20% on Graham. My guess is I actually did well on I think I did well. Let me check one more time over to South Carolina quickly just to see how I did. I definitely lost a couple of marker positions on blowouts, which did not come through. Did not come true. That is no surprise. So I made some money there. I've got a couple like kind of crazier long shots that are not going to come through, but just going to trickle away a little bit of my profits. Vote percent. I'm going to hit, I think, trying to say, I'm just kind of looking at a generalized whether I'm going to get a profit or not on these sort of secondary marker positions I place late. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to wind up making a profit, but really just because I took larger positions on that no on 0 to 3. By the way, if you're a premium subscriber, I put that in the chat earlier today. That pick of no 0 to 3 for Graham and no 0 to 3 for Norman as a margin market. We're going to hit both of those, and I had pretty good positions, much smaller positions. I lost a couple of those on the fringes, but it's going to be a nice profitable night actually for us on this one. So hopefully you had a profitable night as well. And you know what? We're going to try to continue that with some Maisie back and forth right now. and try to make sure that we can get a couple wins going for you. So we're gonna look at that. We'll look at the margin markets over there as well on the chat. I'm gonna probably, if you are coming over to the subscribers only chat, that's at predictableshow.com. Got to be a paid subscriber to be part of that chat. We just did 2 hours, so you get the 2 hours for free, and then we'll do the rest over there. We would love for you to join us. By the way, every one of my picks is up there. You can kind of scroll through them whenever you want. You would have known I had a Maisie position. You would have known about the Darlene Graham 0-3 and the Norman 0-3 no positions today. I kind of all spelled that out in the chat, but also there is over 200 picks of mine that is up all the time. You can kind of just peruse all different topics, sports, culture, all sorts of stuff up there all the time for you if you're a premium sub. So I would love for you to join. And we got a new feature I was working on today on the plane. Can't tell you about it yet, but it's going to be up. I mean, my part of it's going to be done hopefully this week. But there is some back-end work that needs to be done to present to you. But it's going to be another tool for you to use through this election season, ways to find value in these markets as we go through the election. And then soon on the show, if you're not watching the show, I think next week I'm going to start giving you like at least one pick per day in for November. I don't know. Maybe we should call it one pick for per day in November. Come up with some name for it. But I want to make sure that you this is the time you want to get ahead of this a little bit. Like I'll just tell you right now. Next week, I'm in on and I just started growing this position around 90. I wish I would have a couple of weeks later. I would have been able to get in the 70s. I'm big on Markey over Moulton in Massachusetts. I don't see how the conservative, quote unquote, Democrat is going to win in Massachusetts in this environment. It just doesn't seem possible. Markey's old and Moulton's young. So I think people think, oh gosh, the young guy might win. I don't know. It's just their profiles don't seem to fit for me. So anyway, that's another one that we have, but that's we'll have another tool coming for you anyway. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. If you are coming over to the predictableshow.com premium chat, we would love to see you there. I am going to take a few minutes of a break before I pop back on, just because I'm going to get a drink and let my voice rest for a minute. And then we will be back on tomorrow for a brand new episode of Predictable with Stu, wherever you normally watch it. And by the way, Stu and Dave Do America. Dave's on vacation this week. He's in Hawaii. He's playing a show in Hawaii. He's out there with his family. So we will join back with that starting next week. Okay, thanks so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we're trying to it's tough because I'm trying to trade. I'm trying to bounce around. Hopefully we're doing a decent job on these streams, trying to get you the right information and take your questions and everything else as we're going. So I appreciate you hanging out, and we will see you very, very soon on the